Hi, Tannamarshall here with a very different Feel Good Friday message. Today I'm going to be sharing something kind of sensitive that I never thought I would share. There will be a lot of F-bombs being dropped because that's kind of part of my cathartic process. And if you are offended by that kind of language, please stop watching now. Or if you have kids around, please use earphones. So, okay, here we go. Oh God, where do I start? I have been urged to share this not only for myself for cathartic purposes, but to help anybody else who might be going through or have gone through something similar. Since my mom died, I have been working very hard, taking care of everything that needed to be taken care of. And I reached a point where I realized I have to go back into therapy. I need some help. And I have a friend from one of my networking groups from years ago who's a psychotherapist. She's also a shamanic healer, and she also has about 40 healing modalities under her belt. So I knew she was the perfect person to help me figure this all out. In my first session with her, she uncovered this anger and rage towards men, and the word disdain came up. Disdain towards men, which I thought was really interesting. I thought, you know what, that's accurate. I do not have a good history with men, except for my husband, who is an amazing man. Pretty much every guy I've been involved with in my past has been horrible to one degree or another. It was always a mystery to me because I had this amazing father who loved and adored me and gave me all this affection and attention, and I couldn't have had a better foundation for a male role model and a male who loved and adored me. So it was always a mystery to me, like, why do I keep attracting jerks? Regardless of why I attracted them, I let myself express that anger, and it felt really, really good, and it was really necessary. There was a lot of kicking and screaming and yelling, and I left my therapy hoarse and my throat hurt, and I had no voice left because I'd been yelling and screaming so much, and so it felt really good to let it all out. But the thing was, I realized that that was kind of the gateway to the real source of my stuckness, and that was abuse from a family member that I have been dealing with pretty much my whole life. And I always minimized this abuse because, oh, it wasn't that bad, or oh, it wasn't that big a deal. Other people have been through much worse than what I went through. But the bottom line is, abuse is abuse. Trauma is trauma. Regardless of whether or not you went through something once or repeatedly for years. One time can mess you up for life. If you don't deal with it and you stuff it down, it's going to get stagnant, and somehow, at some point, it's going to come to the surface. You're going to have to deal with it, and that's what happened with me. So I let myself get mad. I expressed a lot of anger. I was tapping every day, lots of tapping, and every day new people came up. New people from my past that had hurt me or screwed me over or pissed me off or just done me wrong in some way. And we've all had that, but I've never addressed it. And I did a whole lot of tapping, and pretty much every tapping session, whenever I thought of somebody new or another situation from my past that I was like, oh, that made me angry and filled me full of rage, I tapped on it, and it would end in several rounds of, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And I know that may sound kind of harsh and severe, but oh, that's what I felt. That's what's been inside of me for so long, and I needed to let it out. And I didn't realize how deep this rage was, or how strong this rage was. So no wonder I've been stuck. So there's a family member that was mentally, emotionally, verbally, and physically, when I was little, physically abusive. And this person actually would joke about the abuse when I got to be an adult. There was always this underlying current of rage. Don't piss this person off. Don't make them angry. Don't criticize them. Don't contradict them. Don't challenge them, because there would be consequences. So as a result of that, I was never allowed to be angry or express anger. If I had any ideas or knowledge that I chose to share, I would immediately be shot down and discredited. I'll give you an example. When I was in first grade, we watched a movie in class. Remember when they used to roll the projector in? You kids who are younger, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. But oh, when they rolled the projector in, that was so exciting because you knew there was going to be a movie. So we watched a movie about smoking and how it can damage your lungs. And they showed a picture of pink healthy lungs of a non-smoker and then black lungs of a smoker. Now my whole family smoked around me in the house growing up. This person smoked. And no matter how far away they held the cigarette, they still held the cigarette over here, smoke always came right to me. I was in the car with this person one day and I said, you know, your lungs are black because you smoke. And this person said to me, your lungs are black because you live in Los Angeles. So that was the kind of thing that I was handed. Every time I chose to express something that I had learned, an idea or something, shut down. Shut down immediately. You're not allowed to be smart. You're not allowed to know anything more than I know. You're not allowed to have some knowledge that might be detrimental to me. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to shine. That's what it came down to. Not allowed to shine. Nope. My relationship with this person absolutely undermined my self-esteem and my sense of self-worth. This is how bad it got. There was one time when I was in the same room with this person and I caught on fire. It was my fault, but I caught on fire. I was 2 years old. 2 years old. I remember it like it was yesterday. I stood there on fire thinking, do I say something? They're going to get mad, they're going to yell at me, and they're going to hit me. I stood there on fire thinking that. And I finally said something, and they did get mad. They were annoyed that I called their name. This is the dress. Want to see the dress? It was my favorite dress when I was 2. There's the dress. There's where I caught on fire when I was 2. And apparently I had been messy that day because there were some stains on it. I was scared to say something when I was on fire. I was also left with this person often. When I was young, my family went through a really difficult time and my mom was completely overwhelmed. My dad was going through some difficult times, so my mom was dealing with that. So I got sent off to friends and relatives and neighbors all the time. And this person had me with them a lot of that time. My mom was trying to protect me. And so I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that I was being shuffled off to different people all the time. And with this person a lot of the time. Now, I never thought to tell my parents because I thought they knew and I thought it was okay with them that this person was doing this to me. And I didn't find out until after my dad died when I mentioned something to my mom and she said, I never knew that. So I'm pretty sure my dad didn't know either. And the physical abuse stopped when I got older and bigger. But mental, emotional, verbal, pretty much every family gathering was just everyone walking on eggshells, like, oh, what kind of mood are they going to be in? Are they going to get pissed off? Don't piss them off. We just want to have some peace. And it was exhausting, and it wasn't fair to the rest of the family. So when I was 15, I was diagnosed with lupus. I just got sick one day, shortly into my summer vacation, spent the whole 3 months taking tests, finally got the diagnosis. I remember this person saying to me, that could kill you. I'm like, probably wishful thinking on their part in hindsight. But a few years later, in my early 20s, when I discovered Louise Hay and her book, You Can Heal Your Life, and the section in the back that was the contents of her book, You Can Heal Your Body, which has a list of probable mental causes behind physical issues, and then a new thought pattern to help correct that and heal yourself. Listen to the thought pattern for lupus. A giving up. Better to die than stand up for oneself. Anger and punishment. Yeah, that was kind of what I was going through at the time. I'm not surprised at all that I manifested that. Here's the new thought pattern. I speak up for myself freely and easily. I claim my own power. I love and approve of myself. I am free and safe. Safe. I didn't feel safe most of the time. Even with 2 parents who loved and adored me, that I lived with, that I was with all the time, I still didn't feel safe from this other person. And that lasted for a long time. Then flash forward to when I'm 18, have a creepy uncle. Why is there always a creepy uncle in the family? Why? Creepy uncle who molested me, but I told my parents immediately. That ended. I still had to deal with him one Christmas after that, but I made it very clear, don't touch me. And shortly after that, a few years later, he had a freak accident and died. And I'm not sorry to say I was relieved. I wouldn't have to deal with that anymore. So I went into therapy in my early 20s to try and unravel a lot of this stuff from my childhood. And my family was very willing to share stories with me from the times that I was sent off and I didn't know what was going on and I wasn't here and I didn't know what was happening. So they were really very helpful. But that one family member, no, you don't need to know. That was their response. Around the same time I found Louise Hay, I could not get enough of this self-help, spiritual, personal development stuff. And then in my late 20s, I went back into therapy for depression and anxiety, and I was on and off meds for a while. but I had an amazing psychiatrist. She's still there if I need her. So as the years went on, this family member continued to create an atmosphere of stress and tension and anxiety, and all of us walking on eggshells, and are they going to explode today? We never know. We don't know what's going to set them off, and what kind of mood are they in. And it was later that we realized, oh, we're dealing with mental illness and bipolar disorder. And more importantly, I realized after Dr. Christiane Northrup came out with her book and program, Dodging Energy Vampires, which I took the course, that we were dealing with someone with narcissistic personality disorder. Because everything that I learned and all the examples that she gave, I was like, oh my God, that's that person. And even though it's disturbing, it gave me some peace to understand what was happening and how to better handle it. Because who knows, I could attract more energy vampires into my life, because God knows I've had a lot. Guys that I've dated and other people that have been in my life, even girlfriends that I've attracted that I thought were good friends were not. And this will give me better tools, although I'm much more conscientious about who I allow into my inner circle and who I allow close to me these days. But it was pretty enlightening learning about narcissistic personality disorder, because these people have a completely different brain. They don't acknowledge or take responsibility for their actions, or if they've hurt people, or if they have caused problems or wreaked havoc. All they care about is getting their own needs met. They are selfish, manipulative, they're a user, they don't take responsibility for their actions, they have no sense of remorse for taking advantage of people or hurting others, and everyone else is always at fault. There are therapists who specialize in dealing with this disorder. So if you're in a relationship with someone like this and you feel like, oh, we need to get therapy, go into therapy yourself with someone who specializes in narcissistic personality disorder. Because here's what happens. If there's a couple, one of the people is a narcissist, they go into therapy and the narcissist will charm the therapist, because they are charmers. They will win you over. They'll get you to do whatever they want. They'll make you feel guilty if you don't. They'll make you feel like you're the bad person if you say no. So what happens is the therapist is completely entranced by the narcissist, and they look at the healthy person and go, you're the one with the problem. Maybe you need therapy on your own. You need someone who recognizes the signs and the symptoms and can help you handle it in a healthy way. The best thing is just to get away from them. If you can get away from them, get out of that relationship, get them out of your life, that is the best thing that you can do, because there is no winning with them. The only way you can win is to take care of yourself, take yourself somewhere else, because they will do anything to keep their victims feeling powerless. And often they will isolate them and try to make them doubt themselves, kill their self-esteem, their feeling of self-worth. Sound familiar? So it was pretty overwhelming to realize how much I had been suppressing all of these feelings and all of this anger and all of this negativity, because I had to be positive, because I wrote a book about living peacefully, and I'm now coaching people, teaching them how to live a better life and how to be positive and how to shift their attention over to the positive to attract more positive. But here's the thing, and this I got from Abraham, and I didn't even realize how strongly I was doing it. They have this analogy of talking about putting a happy face sticker over your empty gas tank. You can't just go la 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 la, it's fine, because if your gas tank is empty, your car is not going to go. And it's the same thing. You can't focus on the positive when you have negative stuff that's underlying. And all of this crap is part of my past. It's part of me. It's what's made me who I am. So I do have to embrace that part of it too, because if I hadn't dealt with all this crap, I wouldn't have immersed myself in self-help and personal development and all this spirituality so much that I became an expert on all of this, and then going to get all my certifications so I could teach and coach this to other people. So I'm grateful for the experiences. Still need to clear out the crap. So one of the people that I'm working with identified this family member, the abuser, as the main source of this stuck, stagnant energy, and then I needed to get it up and out. And they asked me if I ever wrote a letter expressing my feelings and burning it, and I did. I did that years ago, did forgiveness work, be working on that for the rest of my life. And let me say about forgiveness, forgiveness is for you, to give you some inner peace. It is not about condoning anybody else's behavior. It does not allow them to continue treating you badly or abusing you. This is with them out of your life, but it's you saying, I forgive you so I can free myself. So I needed to write another letter and get this all out, all of this anger and rage. And I wrote this letter that was everything that I had been thinking and feeling that I never wanted anybody to know. And I read it to the person who was helping me, and they said, that is the best fuck you letter I have ever heard. Because I was never allowed to do that. And now that I've let it up and out, it's helped. So I had this letter, the big fuck you letter. And I had to burn it at the new moon, which I did. My husband was with me to support me. He did not read it. And it was so great to just watch this letter burn up and watch all the words that I had written turn black. And that was really satisfying and really cathartic. But almost every day I think of more people from my past, like, oh yeah, they did this to me. Which again, I would always suppress that in my past. Like, oh no, I can't think about that. Oh, I send them blessings and love. And that's the thing too. When you're a spiritual person and you're studying spirituality, you're studying law of attraction, you're focusing on positive thinking, you think you can't think anything negative or have a negative thought or be angry because you'll attract that. But the problem is if it's still there and you haven't released it, it's going to be attracting negative stuff whether you realize it or not. So if you do feel angry about somebody now, somebody or a situation from the past, I would suggest tapping on it. I think tapping is one of the best tools to help you release emotions that are stuck in your system and help get the energy flowing again, get your brain freed up from having that emotional trigger of thinking about that person or situation, and it'll give you some peace and it will allow you to finally release it and move forward. And I do that every day whenever something new comes up. Even if it's something that I've already tapped on and more stuff comes up about it, I'll just tap on it again. And as many times as I need to tap on it and go, fuck you, I will. And it reminds me of the Bible verse where Jesus talks about forgiveness. And he says, you need to not just forgive 7 times, but 70 times 7. You got to keep working on that stuff to clear it out until you don't feel that emotional charge anymore, or you don't feel it as strongly. And to a lesser degree, I talk to my clients about this, and I call this soaking your casserole dish. When you have a casserole dish that's just full of crap and crud and it's crusted on, you got to soak it for a while to loosen all the crud up. And when the crud gets loosened up, it kind of comes up to the surface and it's gross and it's messy and it's disgusting, but then it's much easier to clean the casserole dish. So right now, I'm soaking my casserole dish that has been full of crud for 50 years. So there's a lot of crud and disgusting stuff coming to the surface. And my way of cleaning and clearing it is tapping and a lot of... But you've got to release it. And that's what I'm working on right now. And it was part of my process to share this video. I may never be done clearing this stuff, and that's okay. I want you to feel okay about expressing your anger and rage too, in a healthy way. If you are dealing with something like this, I want you to find somebody to talk to, whether you go into therapy or you have a trusted spiritual advisor or just a friend. Just someone to talk to who will listen and be supportive while you share your experience. Just know that if you've suffered abuse in any form, for any length of time, if you think it doesn't matter or it's not worth mentioning, or you don't want to speak up or upset anyone, if you think it might upset people in your family or people around you, please know that it does matter. You deserve to speak your truth and be heard and acknowledged. So I'm hoping that by speaking my truth, I can help you do the same if you need to. This was a tough one, and I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad it's over. And I appreciate you being there with me and listening. Thanks for watching and hanging in there with me during this difficult message. I appreciate you being here. I will see you next time. We go have a glass of wine now. Bye. And I have Boo Boo on my lap. I don't know if you can see him, but he jumped up on my lap. So I'm very grateful that he's here with me right now. Okay. Moral support with the tail on my face. Boo, don't step on my laptop, okay? You can sit next to me. Lovey's going, that's my spot.